This meeting
Hello,
is being recorded.
hello, Packer, Viking, Bear, and Lion fans, and welcome to our NFC North breakdown on the Big D podcast. Before I bring in Alex for his contribution, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. Got a lot of US Open video was uploaded. Also, a Stanley Cup final preview for your hockey fans. Also, check out the Big D podcast on Spotify and Apple. Well, I announced last week that we were doing a division breakdown, and today we are looking at the NFC North. So, Alex, you ready to look at the? You ready? You ready to put on your polkas and talk the NFC North?
Yes, sir. It's good to be here on the show as always, Dylan. My Miami Dolphins played the NFC North this year, so I'm definitely looking forward to what you have to say. Take some notes about the upcoming season, and make sure my boys are ready for the year. And can't wait to see what's going on in the rigid, cold NFC North.
Hey, my Jags also play a game in Detroit this year. So maybe Aiden Hutchinson won't sack Trevor Lawrence 10 times. Only sack him
You know,
9.
I mean, all right, you ready to get into it?
Yep. So if you think back to last year, the Green Bay Packers yet again won the NFC North with a record of 13-4. Minnesota finished second at 8-9, Chicago at 6-11, and Detroit at 3-13. So let's start Green Bay first. So Alex, what do you like about the Packers?
Well, first things first. I mean, you've got to talk about that Green Bay Packers defense. I mean, throughout the Aaron Rodgers dynasty, it seems, yeah, if you can call it a dynasty. I mean, he's got, obviously a little bit of a speed bump in the playoffs for Aaron Rodgers, but that defense has been stout. It's been solid for a very long time. I mean, whether you got Jair Alexander in the secondary or a really solid pass rush, really solid linebacker core. I mean, especially I just feel like that Green Bay defense is a perfect complement to the Aaron Rodgers offense. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he's moving that ball down the field. He can score. He can take the ball 80 yards down the field in a matter of a minute and a half. So that defense has always got to be ready to be back on the field, because you never know when Aaron Rodgers is going to hit one of his playmakers for a big play, flip the field, score a touchdown quick, and that defense is coming right back on the field. So you have to have you have to have that complementary system in the NFL. And I do think the Green Bay Packers really do have a very good supporting cast on the defensive side of the ball. But I mean, when you think of the Green Bay Packers, you think about the offense. I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, it's been a quarterback paradise for the last 2-3 decades. Davante Adams has been one of the biggest superstars in the NFL. Obviously, I think anyone who's cares enough about the NFL to be watching this podcast knows that he's no longer in Green Bay, but they still have the weapons. They brought in Sammy Watkins over the offseason. Does he still Southwest Florida's own Sammy Watkins over the offseason. And still have Aaron Jones, still have AJ Dillon, got a couple other decent little pieces at receiver. But at the end of the day, it's Aaron Rodgers throwing them the football. But luckily for the Green Bay Packers, one thing I really do like about them going into this season is they got that Aaron Rodgers drama over quick. It didn't leak into training camp. It didn't leak into preseason. They got it. They got the numbers down. Obviously, it might have been a little, controversial whether Aaron Rodgers actually knew Davante Adams was going to get traded or not. But at the end of the day, they weren't sitting through the entire offseason going back and forth trying to work together if Aaron Rodgers is going to come back or not. They got it out of the way. Aaron Rodgers is able to have a clear head going into the offseason, going into his rest and coming up into training camp. So I like the Green Bay Packers. I think, yes, obviously, if you losing a player like Davante Adams is going to hurt your team, I don't think they're going to be as dominant as the Green Bay Packers we've seen in the past. But looking at the rest of this division, I think Minnesota, and we're obviously going to get to all of this, but I still see the Green Bay Packers as the favorite to win this division. I mean, Minnesota is going to have to take it from them. I mean, Green Bay's the holding division champion. It seems like they've pretty much been running through the division for quite some time now, and I think I don't think Minnesota has done enough, and I don't think Green Bay has lost enough. As big of a loss as Davante Adams is to give up that NFC North title. And I'm trying to draft. I'm just going to tell you what I'm trying to draft. Not AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones, and then as many fantasy leagues as I can this year.
So like best ball, redraft, dynasty, regular fantasy, Guillotine league, you want Aaron Jones and everything.
I mean, dynasty obviously maybe might drop a little bit lower on my rankings, but as far as redraft specifically, Guillotine even, give me Aaron Jones. Especially, I mean, with a Week 14 bye, I would love Aaron Jones in a Guillotine league this year.
Hey, and one of us won a Guillotine league last year.
Yes, sir. I got my defending crown. I'm ready to go back to back.
Wait till I join the league, then you won't have a prayer in that.
We'll see about that.
Are you worried about Green Bay's wide receiver core? Because we saw in the playoffs last year where Aaron Rodgers basically only relied on Aaron Jones and Davante Adams, and now Davante Adams is in Las Vegas. So can Aaron Rodgers win without Allez Lazard, Randall Cobb, Sammy Watkins, and a rookie? Because Aaron Rodgers is not a fan of rookie wide receivers.
Right. And I mean, obviously, that's the biggest concern going into the season when you think about the Green Bay Packers. But you have to remember, at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is still the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be putting that ball in a spot that only his receiver and his receiver alone can catch. Yes, obviously, like, I mean, I am concerned about, I guess, the lack of a star when it comes to the receiver room, because Aaron Rodgers has always had has had Davante Adams practically his whole career. It feels like, he's always had that kind of safety net. You know, when you take away a quarterback's number one receiver, you have to have at least a bit of concern. But the way that Aaron Jones is used in that Packers offense when Davante Adams wasn't on the field for the Green Bay Packers, I think he's going to step up massively. They're still going to have AJ Dillon to control the run game as well as Aaron Jones. And Sammy Watkins isn't a slouch. I mean, they got the rookie Christian Watson in the second round after trading with the Minnesota Vikings. So I mean, you know, it's Aaron Rodgers at the end of the day. As long as he stays healthy and stays on the consistent level that we've seen from him, I'm really not too worried about it. You have anything you want to have any input about the Packers? You want to move on?
Next.
All right. So moving on from the Green Bay Packers, we've heard their name a couple times. The Minnesota Vikings, finished second in the NFC North last season. What do you see? What do you like and what do you not like from the Minnesota Vikings this upcoming year?
Well, if you look at the Minnesota Vikings offensively, you see a whole lot of talent because Dalvin Cook is one of the best running backs, whether he's running, catching, scoring touchdowns. Dalvin Cook is fun to watch. He'll probably be a top 4 or 5 pick in most fantasy drafts, and he is worth the investment. And wide receiver wise, I think we can say Justin Jefferson's the next Bayou Bengal wide receiver. I mean, have you seen what he can do, what he's done his first 2 years in the NFL? My goodness, can Jefferson make plays?
Caught a player too.
Yeah, he's okay. And Adam Thielen might be getting up in age a little bit, but he can make a few plays in the slot. When you have him, you have Jefferson. The Vikings can put up points with anybody, and in today's NFL, it's all about putting up points because you're not going to stop teams unless you've got the no-fly zone defense in Denver or the Legion of Boom.
Right. So I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of your points there. What concerns you about the Vikings going into this year?
Well, can the Vikings stop anybody?
Right.
Because not just in the division, but Minnesota last year gave up a few too many yards. And looking back on Minnesota's schedule season last year, the Vikings lost a ton of close games. Week 1, Cincinnati lost in overtime. Week 2 in Arizona, lost on a missed field goal. Week 4 against Cleveland, lost lost by 7. And then won week 5 on a last second field goal. Week 6, lost in overtime. Week 8, lost to Dallas in the game that Dak missed. Week 9, lost to Baltimore in overtime. Then beat LA, beat Green Bay, lost to San Francisco, lost to Detroit, beat Pittsburgh, beat Chicago in a 1-possession game, lost to LA. I mean, the Vikings might have been the most snake-bitten team in the NFL last year, and unfortunately, it cost Mike Zimmer his job. So now with another Sean McVay prodigy in place, Coach Kevin O'Connell, right?
Kevin O'Connell, yes, sir.
With Kevin O'Connell in place, can he not only keep the Viking offense, but maybe get the best out of Kirk Cousins? Because whether you like him or not, Kirk Cousins was pretty dang sporty last year. Unfortunately, didn't encounter the wins, but it was so consistent last year. And maybe having an offensive minded coach for Kirk Cousins gets the best out of him.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly where I was going there next. Is one thing that when I think about the Minnesota Vikings, when I think about NFL franchises in general, I mean, bringing in a brand new coach, having your first season as a brand new coach, obviously it's a little bit easier when you have a quarterback in place who has experience, who has NFL experience, who's been there before, like Kirk Cousins does. But still, either way, when you bring in a new head coach and you bring in a new coaching staff, there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be things that players aren't accustomed to, aren't really ready for necessarily by week 1, by week 2, by week 3. They're still learning. Do you think there's going to be? So this is going to be a 2-part point. Because one, bringing in a new head coach, as accomplished as Kevin O'Connell is, and with the offensive mindset, with all the weapons they have on offense, I think it is a good fit. But another thing that really concerns me about the Vikings as well is, can they stay healthy? Because obviously, Dalvin Cook. Sorry, I got a little bit of a contribution from a feathered friend, but
He is the Minnesota Viking fan.
Dalvin Cook has kind of, especially in the fantasy football circles, been labeled as an injury-prone running back over the last couple seasons. I think it is a little bit of an unfair tag because it doesn't necessarily seem as Dalvin Cook gets as hurt as many people thinks he does. But you look at that roster, you have Dalvin Cook, who there's always going to be a question mark there. Then you've got Danielle Hunter, you've got Zadarius Smith, you've got Christian Darrisaw, Irv Smith, all players with injury past and players who are really monumental to especially the defensive side of the ball, but just the team in general. Do you think with a new head coach and the growing pains that's going to come from that, and a little bit of injury history with some of those big name players, do you think the Minnesota Vikings are going to be able to overcome that?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, there you go.
Okay, so guess what team we're going to talk about next?
Well, we're down to 2 options, so it's either
the Bears,
Justin Fields in Chicago, and I guess that's where we're going.
Okay, what do you like about the Chicago Bears?
So, what I like about the Chicago Bears, I'm going to start off, Dylan, by saying, honestly, not much. Justin Fields is the one name that really stands out to me. I think Justin Fields has all the potential in the world to be a very, how do I want to phrase this? The almost epitome of what you're looking for in the modern NFL quarterback. When you're looking at NFL quarterbacks, obviously you're looking, I mean, over the past 2 decades, the big names have been obviously Tom Brady. You've got the Ben Roethlisbergers, you've got the Aaron Rodgers, you've got the Phillip Rivers, if you even want to go back that far. But that prototype of quarterback is changing. The Kyler Murrays are coming up. The Patrick Mahomes are coming up. The Josh Allen, who it's not even sneaky mobility anymore. We know Josh Allen can move. this
Lamar
this new
Jackson.
era of mobile quarterbacks and quarterbacks who can create plays, Jalen Hurts even. It's becoming the new meta, the new prototype in the NFL. And I do love what I see in Justin Fields. He had an okay season last year. I'm never going to put too much stock into a rookie quarterback's rookie season. Obviously, we know what Peyton Manning did his rookie year, and we know what he did for the rest of his career. But Justin Fields is definitely the one bright spot of the Chicago Bears that I'm really, putting most of my eggs in their basket in. However, unfortunately for the Chicago Bears, I look at the roster and I just don't see enough talent for them to be able to compete with really anyone in this division. Even Detroit. I mean, I would pick Detroit's roster any day of the week over the Chicago Bears roster right now. I mean, the face of your franchise, really, Khalil Mack, has walked out the door. Allen Robinson, one of the best receiver on your team, has moved on. David Montgomery. I've never been a very big David Montgomery fan. I've always avoided him like the plague in fantasy drafts. I don't see a lot out of this Chicago Bears team that really gets me excited and really has me see them winning more than 4 or 5 games this season. I do think that Justin Fields is a very solid option for them at quarterback. I'm not sure if he's going to take the next step this season. I just don't, unfortunately, think they have enough talent around him for him to make that step. But it's definitely a rebuild. It's definitely a process that I think the Chicago Bears are working towards, and I think they're doing a decent job at making that happen. But it is not a this year thing. It's not a next year thing. And I mean, you're looking a couple years down the line for the Chicago Bears, I feel, to really fill enough holes to make them contenders in this division again.
I like Justin Fields, but to me, it's basically Justin Fields, Monty, and Darnell Mooney offensively. Other than that, ugh. The Bears
I mean,
are who we
Komet,
thought
if
they
you want
were.
to throw them in there, but
The Bears are who we thought they were.
the Bears are who we thought they were. I mean, you're right about that. They're going to need, I mean, losing Khalil Mack, you're going to need Mike Ditka to come back second born to be able to inspire that Chicago team. Unfortunately, I mean, I've never really had anything against the Bears, but I just, going up against Green Bay twice a year, going up against Minnesota twice a year, they have the AFC East this year, which is a very it's one of the, now I would say it's one of the best divisions in the NFL, and that's giving a little bit extra credit to the Patriots than I think they deserve. But it's not going to be an easy season for Bears fans. I think offensively they're going to struggle. I think defensively they're going to struggle, and I definitely see them coming last in this division.
Yeah. Do you worry that the Bears seem to be rebuilding despite having Justin Fields on their center?
Yeah, it's tough because obviously the teams that are getting rookie quarterbacks, like the top rookie quarterbacks, typically aren't in the best situation. You're typically looking at top 5 draft pick teams. So obviously, when you bring in a star rookie quarterback, a guy that comes from success, that's used to winning, and you bring them into a losing environment, you're going to have some problems there. Whether or not the Chicago Bears are trying to go the route of acquiring as much assets for the future and rebuilding through the draft and through young players, that's fine. And I think it's definitely an acceptable method, an acceptable way to build an NFL franchise. But the problem is it's just going to take time. Justin Fields, I mean, he's a young guy. Is he going to want to stick it out and sit through the Chicago Bears rebuild? Or is he going to say, you know what? I don't see this getting fixed anytime soon. I want to be out the door in 2 seasons when he's coming towards the end of his rookie contract and try and find a better spot elsewhere. That really just depends on the Bears front office and the moves that they're able to make and to be able to surround Justin Fields. But as of now, they have not done it. It doesn't really look like they're anywhere too close to doing it anytime soon, in my opinion. But you want any other points on the Bears, or I think it's time to move on to the Windy City. We got nope, that's Chicago. We were already in the Windy City. We're in Motor City, going down to Detroit. The Detroit Lions. I mean, obviously the Detroit Lions have been, I mean, you could call it the laughing stock, the bottom dwellers, pretty much their entire franchise. What do you see? Do the Detroit Lions have any hope of turning things around this season, though?
Yes, I actually think the Detroit Lions are a real interesting team. Probably not this year, but you look at the Lions' talent. DeAndre Swift is one of my favorite running backs to watch, not just in the NFL but in fantasy this year. I think he would be a top 3 PPR back this year. You know how much of a fan I am. We talked about him last week on the podcast, but I think DeAndre Swift, if he ever stays healthy, can be really productive. Ahmad St. Brown was the real fantasy breakout of last year. TJ Hawkinson, if he could ever stay healthy and somebody could throw him the dang ball, can be a real effective tight end. Jameson Williams, if he can come back off the torn ACL, feels like he's got a ton of speed and maybe roll off the 12th pick in the draft. Penei Sewell looks like a really, really good tackle, whether he plays left on the right side. And despite his unusual antics, I think we saw the Lions play hard for Dan Campbell last year. We saw those guys play hard, and even week 18, where the Lions could have lost and got a number 1 pick, the Lions played hard and wanted to win that game.
Yeah. And that's just a testament to playing hard for their coach. I mean, playing for Dan Campbell. I've always been a big Dan Campbell fan. And you know, it says a lot. I mean, when you've got players in your team and in that locker room who want to win, who you're looking at week 18 of the NFL season, and you are already looking forward to the draft and already looking forward to the next season, and they're still fighting that hard, that is a testament to the coaching staff, to the culture that they're building over there. I will say, so I want to ask you, obviously, yes, we do see a bright future in Detroit. Do you think that the quarterback of the Detroit Lions is in that locker room now, or do you think it's going the future face of the future of the Detroit Lions is going to be a kid who still might be taking classes at a university?
I think the Detroit Lions quarterback of the future is in college. The question is he at the Ohio State or the University of Alabama? Because you look at it, I think we've seen enough of Jared Goff. He can't play. He does not fit today's NFL. I mean, be honest. Jared Goff might not have fit 15 years ago. I didn't like him when he was the number 1 pick coming out of Cal. I thought Carson Wentz should have been the number 1 pick, but we'll leave that for another day. But to me, I think the Lions made a smart move and taken the best player available in April's draft, because you were not getting a transcendent quarterback at 2. Wait a year, get your quarterback. You've already got 2 1s anyway. You don't need draft pick. The Lions can move up and get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young and have themselves a franchise quarterback with all that young talent. Because guess what? Guess what rookie quarterbacks on the rookie deal don't. Guess what quarterbacks on the rookie deal don't make?
Money.
They don't make money. And you know what that means? They don't need up a large portion of the
salary cap.
And the NFL is the salary cap sport. So, bingo.
Sorry. I didn't realize we were still finishing each other's sentences.
No, the Detroit Lions will be in the quarterback sweepstakes. Probably won't be the favorite for a number 1 pick with Atlanta, Seattle. Lord knows what happens with the New York teams. Maybe Atlanta, Carolina, but I think the Lions will be quarterback hunting this offseason. And who knows, maybe the Lions pull off their quarterback bonanza, because we saw Denver trade for Russell Wilson, the Browns trade for Deshaun Watson if he ever plays again. Davante Adams end up in Las Vegas. The Philadelphia Eagles get A.J. Brown, and your Miami Dolphins got Cheetah. So blockbuster trades are happening more and more in today's NFL.
All right, I have a question for you. Now, I'm not saying that this is a possibility that they should do this. This is just a strictly hypothetical. If you're sitting in the Detroit Lions general manager's office right now, Would you rather have Jared Goff as your starting quarterback or Baker Mayfield as your starting quarterback?
I think I'd rather have Baker.
Yeah, I
I
think I agree.
think I would take Baker because if Baker's got a lot of talent around him, the offensive line concerns me a little bit, but with DeAndre Swift, I think Baker would be okay there.
It just, what really just blows my mind about Baker is he had talent in Cleveland. I mean, he had talent around him. His offensive line was pretty bad. I mean, they were average, I would say. They weren't, well, no, they might have been pretty bad if I remember right. But I mean, you still had the weapons. You had Kareem Hunt, you had Nick Chubb, you had Odell Beckham. As much as obviously he wasn't the Odell Beckham that we've seen for the New York Giants, but he's still a talented receiver. You had Jarvis Landry. He had the weapons in Cleveland. It just, I would still take Baker over Jared Goff, I think, but that's just more about how much I dislike Jared Goff than how much I like Baker Mayfield. But I wanted to just touch on the lines a little bit. I do think I'm big on the lines. I was big on the lines last season. I was doing pick'ems every week, and I was picking the Lions a lot more times than I wasn't really just expecting them to be able to pull it off. I have faith in Dan Campbell. I had faith in the roster. I had faith in the team, and it just seemed like they were so close and they were getting heartbroken so many times that it was going to pay off eventually. And I wanted to be the guy to have it on my pick'em sheet. But I'm just looking at the Detroit Lions schedule this season, and you got to think when you finish last in your division, you're going to be playing the fourth place teams in your across the league. I mean, they've got the Eagles week 1, toss up. They've got the Washington Commanders. I'm not worried about them. Then they've got the Vikings division. They've got the Seahawks. We know the Seahawks aren't going to be the same anymore. They've got the Patriots. Might be a loss there, but I've been saying for a while, I think Mac Jones is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL right now. So I mean, who knows what's going to come out of New England this season? They've got the Cowboys, which will be tough. They've got the Dolphins, which will be tough. They've got the Packers division. They've got the Bears, which they can be a winnable game in their division. They've got the Giants, a very winnable game. They've got Buffalo, which they'll probably get absolutely murdered. But we move on. They've got the Jaguars. No offense, Dylan, but that's definitely a winnable game. They've got the Vikings.
The Cats in that game.
What's that?
Battle of the Cats.
Yeah, there you go. Then they've got the Jets, the Panthers, the Bears, and the Packers again. I mean, I'm not saying the Detroit Lions are going to be a 10-win team this year, but I mean, I think it's very safe to say they could bring up 7 wins, 8 wins, which doesn't sound great, but when you're a Detroit Lions fan, I mean, you got to take what you can get. I think, unfortunately, Jared Goff is not the guy for the Detroit Lions, but as you were saying, they're going to be in the quarterback sweepstakes coming up. And as a veteran quarterback that Jared Goff is, with Super Bowl experience, with playoff experience, with, he's won football games before. You bring in a rookie quarterback, you at least have a guy with genuine NFL experience, NFL wins under his belt to help bring up the rookie if you want to go that route. Or you can cut ties. I mean, if you think that the rookie you end up getting is good enough to lead your franchise, that's fine. But, it always seems like it works, for the most part, works out pretty well, being able to bring in a rookie, let them groom under a veteran, let them learn from the veteran, obviously take their job eventually because that's what you're drafting them for. But, having that veteran presence and having that leader and role model in the quarterback room could be something that Jared Goff might be able to, he's not getting any younger. I don't know if he's going to be able to get a starting quarterback job somewhere else. I mean, maybe for a loaner, but I think that could be a really ideal situation for the Detroit Lions. But I think that was a good wrap up or a good little summary of the NFC North this season, and we want to move on to a little bit of fun. We've got some trivia questions that we want to hit each other with. You want to go first or me?
No, you asking me.
All right, Dylan. This is the tricky one, but you are a genius, so I don't know. I think I might have you stumped here, but we're about to find out. The Green Bay Packers. Who's the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers? That's the first part of this trivia question.
Aaron Rodgers.
Who's the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers before Aaron Rodgers?
Brett Favre.
All right. Let me make sure I phrase this correctly. On November 8th, 1993, Brett Favre started a game for the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football.
Wait a minute. Brett Favre started for the Chiefs. How did they let him play then?
Started against the Chiefs for the Packers on Monday Night Football. Then back, Aaron Rodgers has played Monday Night Football. I want to know if you can tell me the last Green Bay Packers quarterback not named Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers to start a Monday Night Football game for the Green Bay Packers.
How far back are we going?
Within 40 years.
Oh gosh, I think I know. I think I know which game it was. I think it was that crazy game, Washington Green Bay game, where they put up 8 million yards in points. It was
not according to the information I have.
Oh,
I'll tell you this much: I've never heard of this quarterback.
Don Markowski? I don't know.
No. All right. Well, good. I'm glad I stumped you. On September 22nd, 1986, Randy Wright started for the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football against the Chicago Bears, who were 25-12 victors in that game. The Green Bay Packers did not play another Monday night game until November 8th, 1993, where Brett Favre started against the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Chiefs won 23-16.
That probably would have been Joe Montana and Brett Favre.
Yeah, probably right. All right. Well, good. I stumped you. Have you ever heard of Randy Wright?
No.
Me neither.
You got me stumped for once, you little rat.
All right. I beat the encyclopedia. I love to see it. That was a tough one. You got one for me, or I mean, I hope you take it easier on me than I did on you. But
let me see. Yeah, you probably looked it up on Google.
Maybe. Well, I was thinking. I was like, all right.
I've got one.
Okay.
Do you remember the Viking quarterback to start an NFC wildcard game again at Lambeau Field against Green Bay?
The Minnesota Viking quarterback to start an NFC wildcard game at Lambeau against Green Bay. How far back are we talking?
A while. A few years.
I had a name, but if it's a while, then it's probably not him.
It's not. Let's see. Oh, I think I know. Let me see. Oh,
do you know the answer to this trivia question, Dylan?
I think it's 2012. 2012.
2012. Okay. My original guess was going to be Daunte Culpepper.
No.
Not Daunte Culpepper. My backup guess was someone way back. I was going to say Frank Tarkenton, but 2012 is much more recent than that. So who was a Vikings quarterback in 2012? That was 10 years ago.
It'd be a guy
was it Christian Ponder?
No, I don't think it was Ponder. NFC wildcard. It's a guy I'm even struggling to find. Oh, Joe Webb. Thank you.
Joe Webb. Okay, I remember him.
Oh, gosh.
You asked me a trivia question that you didn't even know the answer to, Dylan. Come on now.
No, I knew. I was trying to think which quarterback started the game, and there are like 18 different answers.
Gotcha. Yeah, the name, I had Culpepper pop up. I had Ponder pop up. What was that guy's name?
Tavares Jackson?
No, not Lamar Jackson.
Tavares Jackson.
Oh, Tavares Jackson. Yeah, that's a good one. Sam. Was his name
Sam
Sam?
Bradford.
Sam Bradford. That's who I was thinking of.
I don't think he spent that much time in Minnesota though. No, he got paid.
I think he played for there. I think he played there for a short amount of time though, didn't he? Or did he not?
Yeah, because they
I know
got
he
him.
was with the Rams.
Because I think Minnesota got him after somebody tore his AC.
I think you're right. All right. We got one more thing to talk about, right?
Yep. Who wins the NFC North this year?
I'm gonna say, Dylan, I'm sticking with the Green Bay Packers. I think the Minnesota Vikings have a lot of talent offensively. I think, obviously Dalvin Cook is a ridiculous human being. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen are one of the sickest wide receiver duos in the NFL. Kirk Cousins is definitely a better quarterback than Jared Goff, but not as good of a quarterback as Aaron Rodgers. I just look at this Aaron Rodgers led Green Bay Packers team. I just think it's the most complete team, even without Davante Adams in the division. I think Minnesota's defense worries me a little bit. I think some of their injury problems worry me a little bit. And I think having a brand new head coach worries me a little bit. The Green Bay Packers, yes, they lost Davante Adams, which is a huge loss. But realistically, looking at that team with the studs that they have on defense, Eric Stokes, Jair Alexander, and then Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, a two-headed monster in the backfield. Aaron Rodgers is going to get those receivers the ball. He has to. It's just because you don't have Davante Adams doesn't mean that you can't make the receivers on your team better. I think Sammy Watkins is going to step up as much as he can. I think Allez Lazard is going to step up as much as he can. And as much as Aaron Rodgers doesn't like rookie receivers, when you don't have Davante Adams anymore, you're going to make things happen. And I really do. I'm not going to put my money against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers this year.
Minnesota wins the NFC North, and I don't think it's close.
All right.
I don't think it's close. Who's the best wide receiver in the division? Justin Jefferson. He makes the biggest difference. I'm not even sure Green Bay wins the division. Even Davante Adams is still there. I think Minnesota is the best team in that division. And I really think that we're going to see the best year potentially out of Kirk Cousins. Finally got an offensive-minded coach. So I think this year, Minnesota, I think your Vikings are going to be in the playoffs.
All right. You heard it here first. Big D podcast, Funky Spectrum Sports Network. The Minnesota Vikings, according to the Big D himself, are winning the NFC North. I beg to differ. I'm glad we have differences of opinion here. It's going to be really nice to see how this goes over the next 7 divisions we talk about. But it's we're off to a 1-1 start, a little head-to-head battle as far as the NFC North goes, and I can't wait to see how it goes.
You mean you're off to an 0-1 start?
We'll see. We shall see.
So tune in next week when we break down the AFC North.